Would you like to work closer to home, save money on gas, and be rewarded for your hard work and attendance? Then Bellisio Foods is looking for you. That's right, Bellisio Foods is now hiring for multiple positions and shifts with great employee benefits, an on-site health clinic, competitive wages, and advancement opportunities. Bellisio Foods is a company that truly values their employees. Apply online at BellisioFoods.com/careers.
The Jackson County Fair Board, in conjunction with Total Media, proudly present Neil McCoy. Neil McCoy. Saturday, July 15th at the Jackson County Fair. VIP track access seats now available for only $30, which includes admission to the fair. Get tickets now at JacksonCooHfair.com or at the Total Media Studios in Jackson.
Well, good morning, everyone. Happy Friday, and welcome to the morning show right here on Main Street TV. James is cracking himself up. Our good friend Sam is here. Oh, our bear is not that interesting. So we have a bear here in Jackson. Sam doesn't know this. Do you know this?
No.
It keeps making cameos on people's Facebook pages.
Awesome.
Yeah. So James says that James just handed me his phone. Video shows bear breaking into a bakery in Avon, Connecticut, and ate 60 cupcakes. Our bear is not that exciting.
I was not.
I'm so disappointed.
I was not in Connecticut yesterday.
Our bear here in Jackson just walks through people's backyards.
I love the repopulation of it all, though. I've been seeing a lot more. Like, there's been videos even in Meg's, like swimming across the Ohio River and stuff. So
Cool.
it's been pretty neat about all that.
It's kind of like, bears exist, people, like, cool.
Yeah.
I guess it is not every day you see a bear walking through your backyard here in Jackson, Ohio, but, and you have to assume that if there's one bear,
there's at least multiple. Oh, yeah, for sure.
You kind of need a mommy and a daddy bear to make a baby bear, right?
You do. But then it's the male bears that are like, I guess, going further out, and they're kind of finding their territory. So it's like once one area becomes overpopulated with black bears, such as like the West Virginia area, right?
Then they move.
Males start spreading out. I remember us seeing, like, I used to work at a farm in Wilkesville.
Uh-huh.
And this was back, right around like 2002. And then we had signs of bear even then, back then. So I can only imagine what, the repopulation
What it's like
is now about 10 years later. Yeah.
Well, we had the game warden not too long ago here on the program. It could have been 2 years ago for all I know, but it seemed like not too long ago.
Right.
But he was saying that a lot of times when you see like bears like this, it's because mommy eventually kicks them out, right? Mm-hmm. And baby bears don't know how to hunt. They have to learn. And because mommy's done everything for them. So that's when a lot of times you see them going through trash or getting into people's beehives and things like that. Because it's easy for them.
It's easy access.
Yeah.
100%.
Those are typically baby bears.
Baby bears.
They got
kicked out of the nest or the den,
yes,
per se. Yeah.
Got the shaft. But Sam is here, nonetheless, not to talk about bears per se, but we're going to talk about men.
That's fun. Hey. Men can be bears too, I guess, right?
True. We could all be bears, I guess, bears. But yeah. But we're going to talk about. So this is National Men's Health Month.
It is. You almost said National Bears Month, didn't you?
Bears Health Month. Yeah. But no, it is celebrated the week of June 12th through the 18th. Mm-hmm. And I'm reading here, in honor of Men's Health Awareness, Friday, June 16th is Wear Blue Day.
Wear Blue.
Okay.
Or you can even listen to the song, I'm Blue, and I Believe I'm Died, or whatever it is.
Okay, well, you could do all the blue things.
All the blue things that day.
Yeah. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, very, very cool. And no, so you are here, you work with the health departments and whatever. What's your official title again?
I'm a community health worker.
That's right.
Yeah, so we basically just find folks resources and help you navigate those things.
With our local health departments, we all of our local health departments have a SAM.
Mm-hmm.
You happen to be the one in Meigs County,
Mm-hmm.
and you got volunteered to be the person that gets to come and talk to me all the time.
Yeah.
And we're so happy about that.
I enjoy it. I mean, it's honestly one of my favorite things to look forward to, the once a month that I get to come and do
Good.
this.
Well, we love talking with you, Sam, and you know, you've brought such a variety of different topics in, you know, from mental health to all kinds of awareness. And so today, though, we're going to focus on men.
Mm-hmm.
And so I guess I'll let you start, but you know, obviously if it's Men's Health Month, we want to focus on men's health and the things that you all need to do. We just had a doctor from Holzer, and it was last week, I think, talking about women's health and all the things that we're supposed to do to take care of ourselves. So it's very fitting that you're here today to talk about men's health.
Yeah. And I think, you know, a lot of, too, I mean, just growing up around this area, especially, I mean, you know, my pawpaw would see like something and he'd be like, I'm gonna get my pocket knife and cut that off. You know, they wouldn't really, that's like their, that was their,
don't do that.
Yeah, don't do that. But yeah, or like we don't even, I mean, some men just, you know, we have a hard time like paying attention to our own health or even talking about it, whether it's mental health or something that's ailing us, because we're supposed to be
the tough, burly
the tough
people,
man out there, you know, working our jobs and all these things. So, you know, it's very important that, you know, you care for yourself as much as you're trying to care for the family that you're working so hard for.
You know, and that was a common theme, I think, that we had in our discussion with Dr. Bowers from Holzer about women, is that we're the caregivers by nature. Mm-hmm. You all, to stereotype, are kind of the breadwinners by nature, if you're going to say that, the you know, the working man, get out and again, both of those do not really, you know, focus on taking care of yourself.
Right. It's all about everyone else.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Exactly. And so it's so very important for men and women, but we're talking about men today, to take care of yourself. And, you know, what are some of the ways, you know, what are the things that men should be doing? Since I'm a chick, I don't, you know all the things. I know what people joke about, same as the mammograms for chicks and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, once you're starting to hit, especially into your 40s. I mean, I'm 39, so I'm at that cusp.
Oh, you're getting there.
It's about the time to do
teetering.
The old colonoscopy, you know, and what's the other one? It starts with a P. My brain. Huh?
No, not a pap smear, James. That was last week's discussion.
Yeah, right. Prostate exam.
Prostate
there we go.
exam.
Thanks for helping out over there, Bob.
If you get a pap smear, I need you to call me and let me know how it went.
You know, and I think, you know, the other two that I see on this list, basically they're kind of hand in hand, but it's, you know, it kind of affects like heart disease, right? You know, cardiovascular, such as blood pressure. Getting your cholesterol checked out. Those are also super important things, because blood pressure, as we know, we've covered it before, it's a silent killer. You know, you don't. I mean, I've known folks who had issues with their blood pressure and had no clue. They just knew that they were feeling like poop.
Yeah.
You know, and
but you're like, why? Why do I feel tired?
Why do I feel anxious? Like, it can mess with your anxiety. It can mess with so much.
It can mess, with your personality. I mean, just all of that. And you know, it's such an easy thing to check. You just kind of scratch your head and think, why does this person not know this? Like, you can go to CVS and stick your arm in the cuff thingy. Like, it's not hard.
It's not hard, but you know, I think it's the focus, right? Like, there's so many times, you know, we're so conscious of, like we were saying, like, of other people or of other things to, you know, that we have to take care of, that we just kind of let ourselves, you know, off to the wayside oftentimes. And
you know, and I think you're exactly right. But so here's the deal. If nothing else, and this is what we talked with the doctor about too, on the women's side, like, if nothing else, get just go see your family doctor, or go to an urgent care, or one of the nurse practitioners around, or somebody, get established and have them do some blood work.
Right. Preventative.
And if you do nothing else, please do that.
Yeah. I mean, and that's considered preventative care. I mean, that basically they, if you at least go once a year, get blood work, then they can check your diabetes. They can check for your, your cholesterol,
all of that,
blood pressure, all these different things, your blood levels. Like, I mean, even to the point, I had a check recently, and they actually did a genetics test to find out like what medications were going to work for me or not work for me, as far as like what I could metabolize well. And I mean, and that's been even a huge benefit, seeing like what I'm missing, such as, vitamin deficiency, whether it's vitamin D or, the vitamin B or any of these things. And it's pretty, it was kind of expensive, but it was worth it for me.
Did you glean anything from your blood work?
Did I what?
Did you get anything from it? Did you learn anything?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I basically learned that, my cholesterol is a little high. I mean, that kind of comes from, eating like not the best like foods, right? For usual. I mean, it's, but it's eating like high saturated fat foods. And, and again, like, because we're so, in this day and age, especially, everything's like go, 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 right? And it's easier. I got to drive, an hour away to get somewhere. Well, it's easier for me to just stop at McDonald's or stop
anywhere, run through really. The drive-through, and then you keep on going.
And you just keep on going.
Yeah.
And at that point, you're at the soda, you're at the burger,
the fried something,
the chicken nuggets, whatever.
All the good stuff.
All the good stuff.
That is not good for the cholesterol. Mm-mm. But those are all things that you just need to keep monitoring, and then and if there's medications that you can put, it's like some people just have high blood pressure by nature, by genetics or cholesterol or whatever. So you need to know that. I mean, you could run marathon every day and still have high cholesterol because it could just be genetic the way you are.
Right. And I mean, in our bodies, each and every one of us, we basically break down the different foods differently. I mean, we're all different, like you can have something that I can't have at times. I mean, it's the same with like allergies or any of that stuff. I mean, it can affect one person way differently than
That's exactly right. Well, I have a friend. He's actually been here on the show before, Dell Hall, and he owns a brewery in Cincinnati in the Mason area. And for Lent every year, he does nothing but drink beer. Like he gives up everything, and he literally exists off of beer for Lent.
Yeah.
And he's done it for so many years now. He's become like this famous thing. But he said he loses weight, his cholesterol goes down. Like everyone's like, what? But it's just, that's what he does. And it seems to, I don't know, his body
yeah, I mean, there's definitely
is good with it.
Well, I mean, you think like beer has decent like probiotics and things, right? I believe I said that one correctly.
Yes, you did.
Probiotics, but because it's made with yeast, it's got cultures, bacteria, and different things. So I mean, at a good rate, it is good for your gut, basically. Especially with like wine. I mean, they say,
red
glass of wine a day or something, but it's because of all the tannins and different things that are good for your gut health.
And if you drink a bottle, it's even better, right?
Oh, yeah, not
Speaking of high cholesterol, no, don't do that. We were just kidding about that.
That takes us right into the next one, which is depression, right? The whole bottle of wine one. But, it's not, depression isn't just a state of mind. I mean, it can affect people on a clinical level. I mean, there's clinical depression.
For sure.
To the point of it can incapacitate people for days on end.
Or just forever unless they seek help.
Exactly. And it's also very common, with an estimated 6 million men are affected by it annually. But no one's, but we're talking about it. But
you want to talk about something that men are not going to admit.
Right.
It's going to be that one.
It's going to be that one, that they're sad.
Yeah.
And it's okay to be sad. It's okay
or they
to
have anxiety.
Or emotions. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, sure. It's okay, dudes. Like, dudes can have emotions too. We should get a t-shirt.
Right. Dudes can have emotions. Yeah.
It's all right.
But the depression stuff, it can lead to other health issues too. I mean, 'cause you start not taking care of your body, you start not becoming active,
Yes.
At times, because it can, again, debilitate you.
You shut down.
And then that increases the first two, which is the cholesterol and the blood pressure.
Exactly. And and then it can contribute to, all of the things that we're talking about today.
Yeah. And I mean, one of the reasons it gets, often goes undiagnosed is because we're more likely to report that it's like we're just tired or we're just grumpy, irritability, loss of interest and things. But basically it also leads into like having anxiety, because 19.1 million Americans between the ages of 18 to 54 also have anxiety.
Yes.
So, I mean, and 3 million men have panic disorders. So it's the research data is there, right? But I would feel that these numbers would probably be higher, right?
If they would
admit, or if we were properly diagnosed.
Yeah, and I think you and I have talked about it. If there's anything that COVID, brought out I think people are a little more open to talking about mental health.
For sure. Mm-hmm.
Especially in our, kids and whatnot. But again, men probably aren't going to admit it as much as other demographics. But it's very important because of the things that you said. Like, so a lot of times you'll stop exercising, or you just don't want to leave the house. All of the stuff, and it's just like this spiral of things that happen, and then all of that is contributing to something else.
Yeah, and these are things that you can observe in other folks, and then you can sort of just see in yourself at times too, right? And you're like, oh well, if that person says that they're depressed, and it's like, well, what am I feeling? And it's the same thing, man. Like, you're not just sad, like you're going through a process. I mean, there's grief as well, right? Like the loss of a loved one, or something traumatic like that happens. Like, you're going to be sort of sad and be kind of griefy about that. But then at times that can lead to longer than the grief period, which is obviously, grief is up to anyone else, anyone's time frame, but it can be very detrimental to your health.
Yes, it can, in so many different ways. So it's certainly important when you go in to get that yearly blood work. Say something if you're feeling off.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah, I mean, the doctor's there to help you, and unless you're very vocal with the doctor, they don't know what to tell you, right? It's like going to the auto mechanic, and you're like, well, what's going on? Well, you're just like, well, I don't know. You just tell me, and then if they try to perceive a problem, they might miss something that you
correct
see because you're in the car every single day, right?
Yes.
You might hear a noise, and they might not hear it at that point, and they don't know to check it. So
you got to say something. And here's the deal, and I've said this here on this program before: if you go somewhere and you're trying to talk to someone and they blow you off, or they're not listening to what you're saying, then go somewhere else. You have that right too, because you have the right to feel okay and to be okay.
And to feel comfortable with who you're talking to.
And if they're not listening to you, then find another person that will listen to you. And that's okay.
It is okay. Yeah, I mean, especially nowadays, a lot of the doctors are going through sort of the same training that community health workers are going through, as far as learning how to, what they call motivational interviewing. And it's basically just open-ended questions to get you to basically tell us what is going on, as opposed to being like, hey, are you feeling okay today? Right. But instead is like, hey, tell me how your week has been, or tell me of any issues that, have been brought up, instead of just these one worded questions and answer sort of thing.
That makes total sense. And it's funny, Dylan and I were just talking about that the other day, about interviewing, just talking with people in general. And I said, you just always have to just make sure you always ask open-ended questions, because you're going to get so much more out of that person.
Exactly.
Rather than a yes or no.
Out of one open-ended question, you could get someone's entire life history.
Yeah.
Basically, right?
Yeah.
And that's the point. In order to get to know that person, so that you know how to better treat them. And it makes them feel a little more uncomfortable, and more comfortable, and feel like you actually care.
Yes.
Instead of it just being based on numbers, it's like people-based instead.
Absolutely. So think about that. That empathy gets back in there as well. 100%. If you listen to somebody and they start talking, listen to what they're saying.
Yeah.
But
Exactly.
okay, cool. So, all right. So if you're feeling off, if you're feeling down, it's okay to be sad, like if something happens to you. But if you're feeling sad all the time,
Right.
not because of some reason, please say something because it can affect everything else. All right. So now we're going to get into all the the guy things.
The guy things.
The guy
yes.
things that a lady sitting here may or may not understand.
Yeah. We'll hit two on around the same. We have, prostate cancer and testicular cancer.
Not prostrate.
Not prostrate.
Prostate.
Prostate. Yes, exactly. In 2023, there was an estimated of 288,300 men in the U.S. that will be diagnosed with prostate cancer. That's what it's supposed to be this year. It can be cured though. Prostate cancer can, when detected and treated early.
Yes.
The vast majority of prostate cancer cases, more than 90%, are discovered in the early stages.
Yes.
Treatment doesn't always have to mean surgery either,
correct,
or chemotherapy. So there's other preventable measures.
If you're going to get one,
get one. Yeah,
that's a good one to get, I guess, if you could say that, just because it is so highly treatable.
And the chances, and this statistic is for white males, right? But the chances of cases being diagnosed are 50 and older. But in black males, it can be as early as 45.
Okay. And I'm sure there's some scientific reason to that, but we don't know what it is.
I'm sure there is. I don't have that information in front of me, but I think, a lot of it just has to do with genetic. Like we were speaking earlier about, any of these other health issues. A lot of it's just genetic, or it's, predisposed basically.
Yeah. And, obviously family
history,
the genetics part of it.
And there's even statistics as far as going back, like it can be generational, as far back as 3 generations of trauma that can affect like certain health issues and certain lifestyle choice. Basically like where we are today, like your socioeconomic status can be affected within, your 3 generations before you. So if you're in the generation and you're having issues with, mental health issues, there's probably a good chance that
it's in there somewhere.
Something happened. Whether it's, you can even look at the food insecurities. If people that, if folks were having food insecurity 3 generations ago, then we're facing the obesity situations now, right? Because we still have the genetic process that we need to store as much as we can.
Correct.
Because we never know when our next meal is going to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's all of that stuff too to deal with.
All that stuff.
Woo! This is our minds are already blown, and we're only a few things into this. But no, and again, prostate screening again can be done by this blood work that you should be getting yearly.
But research also shows that you have a higher risk of prostate cancer and testicular cancer if, say, a close female in your family, like your mother, a sister, an aunt, a grandmother, has also had breast cancer, then you're also likely higher risk of having prostate cancer.
Really? I did not know that.
Yeah, I did not know that either until I figured all this out. Right.
Good for you.
Yeah, right?
No,
that's Marsha. We'll give Marsha the shout out.
Marsha. Thanks, Marsha.
Yeah.
But no, again, screenings.
Yeah, screenings are super important. And testicular, it's very rare, but it's typically diagnosed in men who are 20 to 54, so that range. So even if as early as 20 years old, there could be a chance that if you have a lump that isn't normally there, you should probably get it checked out.
Yeah, and so you hear a lot. And this is, I think, guys not talking. So you hear a lot about women talking about self-breast exams, and you talk with your doctor, and that's a normal everyday thing that you see on TV and whatever. But men should be doing self-exams as well.
Agreed.
Not only on breasts, because you have them, strangely enough, but on the testicles as well.
Yeah, definitely. Just constantly looking around, even like your lymph nodes in your neck, like those, there can be growths there. Can be
who knows your body better than you do?
Right.
Or your spouse.
I'm like, where did that hair come from? Kind of
right.
Thing, right? So, where did that lump come from? I don't know.
Yeah. Or, Like I was talking the other day, with the doctor it was an endocrinologist. We were talking about thyroid, and I said, your mom knows. Just trust me, moms know things. Maybe not the testicular part, but moms know things. So if mom tells you something looks off, you better go get it checked out.
Yeah,
because moms know things.
They do.
Yeah. No matter how old you are, your mom still knows.
Mom always finds out.
Yeah.
I don't know how it is. She always calls me up and be like, "Hey, I heard that." You don't know.
No, you don't know. I mean, that's totally true, but I'm not going to admit to it.
Yeah, exactly.
But testicular cancer, it says here, is highly treatable, which is a good thing, good news.
Yeah, and even if it's spread to other parts, it's the type that can be easily managed and treated as well.
Excellent.
Common treatments do include surgery and chemotherapy for that, though. But that's why it's so important to get your proper checkups, yearly checkups, because again, preventative health is the best health. Because if you can see it in the future as opposed to letting it, consume you now when it's too late. I mean, stage 4 is not good, right? So try to get it at stage 1, which is why preventative is good.
That's exactly right. Don't wait until there is a problem to do something. Okay, so next on the list is something that all of
yeah, right.
pretty much, if you're American, you fight it because we're just all a bunch of gluttons, and that's obesity. And lack thereof can help your body in so many different ways.
Right. I mean, that kind of even feeds into all the other stuff too, right?
100%.
I mean, whether, because even if it's prostate health, I mean, men who are obese have a higher risk of having prostate health as well. So, definitely keep getting your stuff checked, everything. And, just moving a little bit. I mean, I think, I think there have been some studies with the whole BMI thing is not, because I mean, the BMI, right? The body mass index.
Yeah.
Can really get into some folks' heads because it's like, oh, I'm this tall and I should be this weight. Well, there has been, it was made up by a bunch of dudes who had an idea, right? Sure. Essentially. So there's been new studies saying that it doesn't necessarily have a whole lot to do with the BMI. It just has to do with like how healthy you are, because we should all accept ourselves no matter what, because we're supposed to be the size that we're supposed to be in a sense, right?
Right.
But the difference is like, are we maintaining at least a healthy exercise regimen? Not necessarily like every day,
like bodybuilding stuff,
right? Not necessarily that, but it's more or less
take that brisk walk every day.
Yeah, take your 30-minute walk in the morning when you're going to walk it. If you want to walk your dog, or if you just want to go outside, drink a cup of coffee, and walk around out in the yard, piddling around, just something that you can kind of keep your movement going. I mean,
take off your shoes, ground yourself in the grass.
I mean, I'm a large guy, okay, and I basically my cholesterol is a little up, but my blood pressure is all good. My heart is good. All my other levels, glucose levels, all those things are still good. And I think a lot of it had to do with the fact that I can't sit still. I'm just constantly moving, and even though I am a large man, I'm still constantly moving, because if you don't use it, then you're going to lose it, right?
That's right.
You don't move your legs, you don't move different things. So
Yep. Don't sit on your butt. And you're exactly right. Get out. If you're going to drink your coffee in the morning, why not get out and walk around in the yard and drink your coffee in the morning instead of
just
on your
butt.
Coffee.
Yeah. I mean, and plus
and that's a relaxing thing too. I get that people want to start their day by just chilling out, but
yeah.
I mean, I've been getting up a little bit earlier because it's been so pretty out now. Beautiful. And getting up, same thing, going out, watering all the flowers in the morning, just walking around the yard for a minute. And it just kind of is a good way to start your day, you know?
For sure. I mean, even all the smells, whether you're getting your hands in the dirt and all that stuff, it's all almost it's a good stimulation. Yeah, it's very therapeutic for sure.
Yep, it is. And so my husband laughs at me because we've been letting, obviously we have a corgi puppy, and she's insane. So we've been letting her out at night just to run and run and run and run. So I'm always like, take your shoes off and put your feet on the grass. And he's like, I'm like, listen, there's scientific evidence to the fact that if you ground yourself to the earth, it like changes your energies and all kind of crazy stuff. I mean, we live with gravity and we live with all of this stuff. There's energy within the earth, and this sounds really cheesy, but why not?
Yeah, I mean, we're all connected. I mean,
Yeah.
even, I mean,
This is why people like to hug and
right. And I mean, you could even look at it, I mean, from the Bible, right? It says to the dust we shall return. So, I mean, obviously, if we're made from dust, I mean, we're connected to the earth in a sense, right? So,
sure.
For sure.
So do that. Take your shoes off. Walk around for 10 minutes. It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
All right. So obesity, lose some weight, move your butt.
Yep. Basically.
Don't eat so much.
Yeah, don't eat so much. All the good stuff that we like to.
I will say the endocrine doctor, the endocrinologist that was in the other day, she was saying, though, that if you lose, I think it was 7 pounds, that you cut your risk of diabetes by like 48% or something.
Oh,
like
wow.
it was insane what her statistic
really
was.
neat.
And I was like, and that's not an unattainable number.
No.
If you say 40 pounds, then you're like, oh, well, who's going to do that?
And that's huge, right? So, yeah, I mean, I think even in life in general, right? Like just small goals. Like just if I can get rid of this 5 or get rid of this 6 this week, and then maybe next week you stay the same, that's okay.
Yeah.
Right. But
like
as long
little
as you're just
steps.
Little steps. And, not getting, overwhelmed or sad that, I gained a pound this time. I mean, you can't, like, our body weights fluctuate between barometric pressure, even, right? There's so much environmental things that make it. Stress levels.
For sure.
I mean, all these different things.
Big time. Well, it was funny. We were in Benton County the other day, and it was super hot. We went, they did a groundbreaking for the new Benton County Bank building that they're building. And it was super duper hot, like super hot. We were standing out there, and Dylan said, why are my fingers so fat? I said, because we swell. It's, so yeah, you're going to swell. You're going to maintain water, retain water, all that stuff. That's not abnormal.
And I think even like the water pH level is pretty important too, because whether you sweat it out or your body actually uses it. So, I mean, just tap water is good, but like if it isn't like properly pH balanced either, I mean, your body will retain that water instead of releasing it.
That's why you're seeing all these pH balanced waters out there now in the market.
For sure.
So, there you go. All right. So obesity is certainly something that we need to keep an eye on. And then we get to one that is nobody's favorite thing to get tested, and that is colon cancer.
Yep.
But you need to do it.
You need to do it. At least by the age 50, you should have been tested, or at least get it checked out. And earlier, if you have a family history of cancer, again, whether it's breast cancer, skin cancer, I mean, any of the cancers history in your family should definitely be getting checked out for that.
And I think colon cancer diagnosis are getting a little bit earlier, and so that's why they're changing in some people, changing that to 40 or 45 to get that colonoscopy instead of 50 now.
Right, especially again
for the reasons you said. If you've got a history, if there's some reason for them to think that there might be an issue, they're going to do it earlier.
For sure. And I mean, again, this is finding the right doctor that you can be comfortable with and sharing that knowledge, because we all fill out the prerequisite paperwork for family medical history and all that, but I mean, unless you actually talk and tell your doctor, because like same with you, right? Like I can give you this whole list of things, but if we don't talk about it, then it's not going to stay in my head, right? Because I can read it, but there's so much information out there that maybe some things don't stick, but it's about basically just making it very adamant that you're going to, keep up and talk about your health.
And here's the thing, colon, you probably haven't had the colonoscopy yet.
Nope.
Well, I have. And number one, the colonoscopy itself super easy. They just kind of like knock you out and, whatever. Right. But there is a prep day involved beforehand that is no fun whatsoever. But that's okay. You get through it and whatnot. But you need to do it. And it's one of those things, it's kind of like mammograms and everything else, that everyone blows it all out of proportion. So you're terrified by the time you get there. And it's not that bad.
It's not that bad. I mean, it's, I've had some friends go through it. you know, a little older, especially like the veteran friends that I have, they've gone through it, and obviously it's like a big joke, you know, you got to joke about it, you know, kind of thing. But, you know, it's just definitely important. I mean, it's not something to make you feel uncomfortable. It's not anything like that. I mean, whether it's
not like
prostate
torture.
or,
It's no
not
one's
torture.
being mean to you. They're looking out for you.
No. You know, I think, just becoming comfortable again with your own body and being allowed to have that comfort is a huge thing.
Yeah. And again, find a place where you feel comfortable going, where they're going to treat you well and all of that too, you know, and that makes the whole experience a bit easier. So that's a good thing. Okay. So then we mentioned it a little bit ago, diabetes, which is another kind of silent killer deal.
And it's another huge prevalent thing here in Appalachia.
Yes,
the same with all the cardiovascular stuff. It's
all for the same reasons, I'm sure.
Same reasons. You know, not moving, smoking, all the things. Eating
all the things that we,
carbs,
you know, people like to do. That
eating all the carbs, the donuts, you know, all that good stuff. All the tasty treats.
I know.
Tasty treats.
Just walk around and chew on a head of lettuce and you'll be fine.
Yeah, right.
No, you don't have to do that, I promise. But everything in moderation.
Moderation.
You hear that a lot, and it's so true.
It very much is.
You can have the donut, just don't have 5 donuts.
Yeah, you can have 4.5.
Sam says so. It's okay.
Hey, this is solely my only opinion. This is not the opinions based on any medical.
No, that, you know, it is true. But again, diabetes, it's going to be found by that yearly screening that we've talked about now 20,000 times today.
Yes.
Yearly screening.
I mean, we should get paid for plugging yearly screening.
Shouldn't we? We're the yearly screening police.
Yeah.
Okay, so James says that his nurse practitioner says 35 plus should get colonoscopies. So it's going to depend on who your doctor is, and I think, again, some of your family history and stuff like that. But
sure.
Yeah, thanks for that info. All right, so we talked a minute about the Vinton County Bank, and we have a message from them, and then we're going to be back, and we're going to talk about some more men's health issues.
Yeah. Yay.
At Vinton County National Bank, we believe in supporting the areas where we live and work. Now, we'd like to honor those who also serve our communities. Our new Community Champions account is especially for first responders, veterans, active military, and anyone employed in the fields of healthcare or education. This account offers rewards, discounts, and other benefits to those who give so much to others. Vinton County National Bank, rewarding those who serve.
All right, and we're back. We're talking with Sam about men's health today, and so many screenings and different things that you guys out there need to pay attention to your bodies and do things. You can take a pill for a colonoscopy, huh? You don't have to drink the nasty prep. Oh, well, that's
awesome. I didn't know that.
Let me just tell you. The nasty prep, if you can get away from that, cool.
Yeah, because I was seeing even recently, probably like last week or week before, a friend of mine was posting all his prep. It was like Pedialyte or anything with electrolytes plus some laxative stuff.
And they give you this liquid stuff, and everybody talks about how bad it is. And I thought, well, how bad could it possibly be, right? I mean, you drink things all the time. Like, how bad could it possibly taste? It's bad.
Worse than the worst shot you could ever have had anywhere else.
100 times worse than that. So, yeah. So if you can take the pills, good.
Yeah, exactly.
All of that. Drink the clear liquids, nothing red. That really freaks the doctor out when they get in there and there's something red in there. Don't do that. Okay, so, all right. So we just talked about this again with some friends from Holzer. They had a free skin cancer screening not too long ago, but that doesn't mean you had to have gone to that. But skin cancer is something especially with men, I'm going to stereotype again, where you all don't typically feel up to putting the sunscreen on, and, you know, the ears and your necks are all exposed all the time. And
Not me. Not me at all.
no, I don't believe you. And so therefore, and especially around here where a lot of men work outside, farmers, you know, different construction jobs, things like that. It's, you know, skin cancer is pretty prevalent in our area.
Especially this time of year.
Especially
sun's out,
this,
guns out kind of thing.
That's right. So that's something else that you need to get checked out.
Yeah, for sure. Melanoma.
It can kill you.
It can. I literally have a friend. I was telling my partner about this the other day, but I had a friend that is an artist and didn't know, but she has now been diagnosed with stage 4 melanoma.
You are kidding.
No, and it's like it spread from her skin to other organs and parts of her body. So
Yes.
I mean, it's something that I'm now taking, I think, a lot more serious, especially since I saw that, and that I do spend a lot of time outside and in the sun. I mean, whether it's, you know, working in my yard, because I've got, you know, over an acre of having to weed eat and mow grass and all these things. So, you know, especially just, I mean, because I went to the Outer Banks a couple weeks ago and was down there for a week and basically got hardly any sun, even though I wore my sunscreen. But I come and mow my yard for 5 hours, you know, when I got back and got completely burnt, but didn't even, you know, when I was at the beach, I thought about it. When I was back here,
You don't think about it.
I just didn't think about it.
I'm just going to run outside and mow the grass real quick. Well, okay, it takes about 15 seconds to put that sunscreen on. So just do that before you take off.
And there's even some, like we have this little shop in Pomeroy, and they're like a new soap company down there. And it's called Seabolt and Company, and they have specifically got this stuff that folks can put on, I think it's like the side of their face, because when people are driving, right, like that's the worst section. So it's like
you get the arm thing.
You get the arm, yeah, one arm's darker than the other, and all that stuff. So yeah, there's definitely some issues, some patents going on out there that I've heard about that they're trying to,
That's awesome. So, you know, your skin, think of that. So you take care of other things. You take care of your heart. You take care of your lungs. You take care of, you know, other organs. Your skin is your biggest organ. So you have to take care of it.
Yeah, I mean, like I mentioned earlier, Pawpaw, right? Just taking his pocket knife.
Yeah, like don't cut things off your skin. No. Not okay. And if you see something, say something.
Yeah, I mean,
you know?
And if you have moles, I'm a person who is, I have quite a few, and I basically just keep track and let my doctor know about, you know, if there's any coloration changing and things like that, because that's what's also important. So.
You know, and again, if you would just go in for that yearly know, thing every year, that's something that your doctor could just take a glance at as well while you're there doing your blood work and, you know, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
So there you go.
And I mean, if it's on something on your face, I mean, they can see it. But obviously, if you have clothes on and you're in for a physical or a checkup, then the doctor may not see what's going on.
Correct.
Under. So it's totally important to let them know if you feel anything.
Yes, for sure. Something's bugging you, you better say something. So, all right. So HIV. Something we don't hear as much about as we used to.
No, not as, definitely not as much as we used to. I mean, I think especially with stigma that was going around with it for a lot of years. But I mean, it can happen from blood transfusions. It can happen, you know, that's one way that obviously besides some others that we know through, you know, sort of, you know, intercourse or different things like that. But, you know, I mean, you should be tested for it at least once, especially if you're having multiple partners. And even if you're as old as 65 or older, I mean, that doesn't mean you become inactive, you know, and so keep checked. I mean, same with any other, you know, if there's another STD or anything, I mean, you know, getting checked.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, talk to your doctor about that and, you know, ask them if it's something that you need to do.
You know, and one of the other cancers, like if there's liver cancer, I mean, I think the next one we're going to talk about is like hepatitis C. So if you have, you know, the leading cause of liver cancer is, you know, from hepatitis C. So definitely getting yourself checked with that as well.
Okay. And then, you know, hepatitis C is a virus kind of, you know, same as HIV or that kind of thing. that is kind of a tough one to, bless you, James, to get rid of.
Yeah, and they say if you're born between 1945 and 1965, I don't know what the relevance of those years are for that, but
20-year span.
That you should definitely be checked for hepatitis C.
Really?
I'm just going off the information.
I wonder why that is.
I don't
know. But yeah, so a lot of times, people with hep C, as you just said, then they end up with liver issues. So whether it be liver cancer or liver failure or, that kind of stuff. So that can be easily tested for as well. So you need to check that out.
Definitely need to be checked out. It's not a fun one.
No, definitely not. So, obviously IV drug use is a way to spread, but through, as you said, intercourse and, there's many other ways that it can spread as well.
Yeah, I mean, especially when we're talking about the hep C, I mean, I know they had a huge outbreak like in West Virginia, and now that if you work in food service, you have to have a food handler's certificate.
Yeah.
It's like mandatory now.
Jamie and I were going down to visit family down south somewhere and stopped in West Virginia at a restaurant and I can't remember what the girl said, but she said, make sure that if you stop somewhere here in the state that they're, they've got all the certifications and stuff. And I was like, why? You don't, I don't know. She's like, well, hep C. Yeah, and I was like, what?
it's contracted like saliva. And I mean, and so if they have a cut on their finger or their hand or any of that kind of stuff and it transfers to your food, then you have, a topical food poisoning basically.
Correct.
So,
yes.
Yeah.
So we don't need that. So you need to get that checked out. Okay. So the last one on the list here that you guys need to get checked out, I've never heard of before.
Me either.
Okay.
I mean,
it must be a thing. It's on the list.
Yeah, right. It's an abdominal aortic aneurysm. If you're between the ages of 65 and 75 and have ever smoked tobacco, you should get a CT, a computed tomography scan, or an MRI scan or an ultrasound to check for this condition. A rupture can lead to serious, fatal, or internal bleeding. I almost think it's like something similar to like a hernia, I would say maybe.
Okay.
Not exactly 100%.
So if it bursts, it's going to be, aneurysm. It would be, could potentially bleed to death.
Yes, sure.
That's interesting. I wonder what that has to do with smoking. Like why that's a thing.
Oh yeah. We have our googly guys over there. They can give us some information.
Yeah, Googlers.
Yeah.
Google away. Look up abdominal aortic aneurysm. Yeah. And good luck spelling that because I can't. Okay. So we've talked a lot about, some of the screenings that you guys need to do. Mm-hmm. Yes, Dylan.
Lots of screenings.
Okay. So this is according to NHS Inform. But an abdominal aortic aneurysm is a swelling of the aorta, the main blood vessel that leads away from the heart down through the abdomen to the rest of the body. The abdominal aorta is the largest blood vessel in the body and is usually around 2 centimeters wide, roughly the width of a garden hose.
Okay, so you get a an aneurysm is where basically a little part of that would burst, and then so there's a lot of blood flowing through there.
Yeah,
and that's why it's a bad deal.
Yeah, no bueno.
Yeah, don't do that. Don't get one of those, Dylan.
No, definitely get checked.
Don't smoke.
Okay.
Okay, he said.
Yeah, don't smoke.
He's listening to us. Okay, so we talked about the screening part. So what are some of the things that you have coming up here for Men's Health? Because I know there's some events coming up.
Yeah, and so in Jackson, we're having an event called For the Health of It. It is Saturday, June 10th, and it's going to be from 4 to 8 at Manpower Park.
Okay.
You can basically travel through various stations to earn points toward prizes. So for each table that you visit, you can get these little points and they'll be entered in for a prize. There'll be fun activities, ideas, resources, information, and food.
Okay.
Basically to keep your family healthy and happy. Yeah. There was going to be the walking path, the jump rope, soccer path, hula hoop, I believe painting, face painting kind of thing, blood pressure checks.
Okay.
There you go. You can go get your blood pressure checked that we were talking about earlier.
We were just talking about that. Yes.
Yeah, easy to do. There's a Facebook follow, I think.
Sunscreen station. We were just talking about that too.
Really weird. Mm-hmm. And a puzzle race.
Ooh, that sounds fun.
Yeah.
Don't know what that is.
Don't know what that means. I guess you have to show up to find out.
Yeah.
And then, they'll be providing some nutritional facts as well.
And that's a wonderful event. And, the whole family, bring the whole family. I mean, I know it's Men's Health Month per se, but this is something that you could bring everybody to, enjoy, get some food.
I mean, because if you have kids and they see that you're taking proactive care of your health, then it can transfer on, right? And we talked about the generational stuff. That's how you start affecting the generation to come, is that you are, the curse breaker now, essentially.
Yeah. So, lead by example.
Yeah. And then I think in Athens, so this is, I got to do this because tomorrow, we had talked a few months ago about my food initiative that I started in May, right?
Yes.
So we had our first one, which was on May 5th, Cinco de Mayo. We did a taco day that day.
Yes.
And we fed all the students for free, and we raised $365 for that. So that made it sustainable for me. And we're going to do it again on May 21st. Or not May 21st, sorry, June 21st, at the Rio campus again in Meigs. But coming up tomorrow, I've partnered with Devil's Kettle Brewery. I'm going to return back to them. I used to run their food truck, but I'm going to return back as a guest pit master kind of thing. We're going to roast a whole hog out there. They will have raffles as well. And so all the raffle proceeds, the raffle proceeds are actually going to go toward the Meigs Rio Food Initiative. Come on out, celebrate with us. They're going to have a few new releases as well. So.
That's right. And Cameron's a great guy. And if you haven't been to Devil's Kettle, they're in Athens. What is that street?
It's Columbus Road.
Road.
It's actually not too far from the sister station.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, kind of right down from the new radio station there in Athens.
True Rock 105, right?
I think so.
Pure Rock.
Pure Rock, yeah.
Pure Rock, yeah. I always get the True.
Pure. It's because it's kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pure Rock. Yeah, it's been a pretty I like the switch over. It's been nice.
Good. Glad you're enjoying.
Yeah, I get the little crispy bit of it in Meigs. I'm kind of on the outer
you're
cusp.
On the edge.
I am. I'm on the edge, man.
Living on the edge.
Mm-hmm. But as I noticed, I left one, and as I was driving toward here, I was able to pick up this one. So it was like, all right, well, it works out. So
yeah,
no matter where you go around this
full
area,
market coverage,
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah.
Okay, so tell us again, when are you doing the thing at Devil's Kettle where you're going to roast the hog and all that stuff?
I am starting the hog tonight.
Okay.
So if you want to come hang out with me all night, kidding. So they will be doing the food serving. We're planning on it at 4 p.m. tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yep, 4 p.m. tomorrow, Columbus Road, Devil's Kettle, Athens.
Yep.
Yeah, and I'll be there. I don't know how long I'll be there. I might be trying to get out of there pretty quick to go home and go to bed. But I'll be there at least all morning and afternoon tomorrow. If you're out and about, stop by, say hello.
Sounds like a good time and some great food along the way.
Oh,
and for a great cause.
Yeah, I mean, Devil's Kettle, they do a really good job. Like once a month, they partner with like the Rotary Club, and they do pies for pints for a purpose kind of thing. So it gets donated to a certain charity. So Cam's an awesome guy.
He is. He's a very good dude and super fun to talk to and very kind.
And knows his stuff. Like he's so smart.
I know. People ask about like brewing beer, and you have a culinary background. I guess I have a culinary background, but like, so if someone comes up to you and says, "I need you to make a meatloaf," you're like, "Well, I don't like in my pocket have a recipe for a meatloaf, but I can throw something together. It's gonna taste like a meatloaf just off the top of my head, right? Because you can do that. Beer." Not so much.
No.
Like if you don't know what you're doing, you can't fake that.
No, there's so much like with the yeast production, and then the certain type of hops that you're going to use, or if you're using a sour mix.
insane.
There's so much like science to it all.
That's
right?
the thing, like with brewing beer, and I hope people realize this, that it is truly an art, but it's also a science. You have to be very, very smart to be able to brew beer, because if you there's the scientific part of it and there's the culinary part of it.
Right. Yeah, I mean, there's the scientific part. It's like, okay, I can produce this actual, I can produce a beer, right?
Correct.
You have a beer, but it takes the artist in order to change the flavor profile to make it palatable, or to make, make it,
or to make,
like,
and you can take like, this same hop, and Jamie and I were talking with some people over last weekend. We were at a beer festival up in Columbus, and they were like, trying to, oh, well, what hops are in your, flagship beer? And we're like, well, okay, it's the same hops that are in everybody's flagship beer. It's just how you cook them.
Right. Whether
for lack of better words, it's how you put the recipe together.
And are you using fresh hops, or are you using cured hops? Or, there's fresh hops versus cured hops are two completely different flavors too. So,
yep. You get the little pellets, or you get like the actual flour part of it. We just did, we canned it actually. We call it Spruce Lee.
That's hilarious. I like it.
It's a spruce tip beer. And so it's got like 50 pounds of spruce tips that we threw in it. And so that's always you only get those spruce tips for a very short period of time, right? So you can do that once a year. And so that's there's all these like fun, crazy things that you can do that you just kind of, the sky's the limit with your imagination. But
yeah, and it would be bad of me to not mention too. I know we have talked about, I think the last few times, Dylan, right?
Yes.
We had talked about like, eating something other than pork or chicken, and there's seafood, right? Well, I found out recently through the farm that has donated the hog for this hog roast.
Yes.
Wildcat Ridge Farms in Shade, Ohio.
Okay.
They actually do shrimp. So you can get Appalachian shrimp. I thought, in my head, it was just a joke to like, oh, let's get our, shrimp from Appalachia. Turns out you can get
you
Appalachian
actually
shrimp.
can.
Yeah, and they're usually available at like Market in Pickerington and up that way, right? However, you can also like go on their Facebook page, find out, and you can actually order on their page and go to the farm and pick it up. Or
local shrimp. Who knew?
Local shrimp. Yeah. They're really just right up the road. I was so excited when I found out about Appalachian shrimp. I'm like, this is crazy.
It really is a thing.
It blows my mind.
It's not a unicorn.
No, and they're doing, that farm is doing amazing things. They're producing chickens, they're producing the shrimp, the cows and pigs. And yeah, it all just seems like a really cool place.
Yeah. Love that.
Yeah.
And if you eat today, thank a farmer for it.
Yeah, for sure.
No matter what it is, a farmer did that.
Yeah. Or a science lab. Yeah.
Well, that's
depending on where you go.
if you're eating. So right, exactly. So okay. I'm going to put you completely on the spot.
Do it.
Here.
I don't even know what you're going to say here.
He does not know what I'm going to. Speaking of scientific things and things created in a lab. So James and I have had these discussions before because his girlfriend is a vegetarian.
Mm-hmm.
But so there's these Impossible Burgers and Beyond Burgers and all these things. Well, they're made to basically emulate a regular burger, but they're genetically engineered through plant proteins and all this weird stuff that totally wigs me out. But James said he likes them. His girlfriend says, I'm a vegetarian. I don't want fake meat. Like, I don't want that to, that's not my jam. Like, I want to eat vegetarian things. So what do you think about this whole Beyond Burger and the genetic engineering and all this stuff that it tastes like?
Well,
like a burger, but it's not.
I think at a very early point in my career, I was very angry about these things. I kind of had this like, I don't know, why would you, if you're going to eat meat, like kind of thing,
right.
But I think as we evolve as a species, like some folks are just, they don't want to think about that an animal died for this. And that's not to say that they're right or wrong either, right? Like that's
Correct.
not the
We all
debate
have
here.
our own opinion about
We have
that.
our own opinion. We can all eat what we do what you want. Basically, it's America. So the way I feel is that if it works, it works. But like when I worked at Devil's Kettle, the first time I had ever had a Beyond sausage, I was like, this is probably the best sausage that we have. And I mean, Kim gets amazing sausages in, right? Like, I mean, gets them specially ordered from Wisconsin.
Yeah.
From, these German folks up there. And the Beyond sausage was probably like one of my favorites. But then when
You're like, oh no.
Yeah, it's so delicious. And like even like some of the burgers, like they start, they put the little beet juice in there to make it look like it's bleeding. And you sort of get the whole like aesthetic of it all, I guess. But I'm not angry about it. I mean, someone's just, it's pure capitalism. Someone's making money. And,
right.
And the other thing is like, I look at the ingredient list, the nutritional value, and they're terrible for you.
See, and I guess
so
that's
bad
kind of,
you.
Okay, I'm glad you brought that up because I'm like, I get it, but they're not good for you and they're genetically altered and there's all this. I feel like we're all going to start growing horns out of our heads.
Like the sodium content, the cholesterol content, like all that was like way above what, a normal like bratwurst would have been, But I mean,
I get it. Again, everything in moderation, right?
Everything in moderation. But I mean, I guess if someone is eating mostly vegetables, then, that's basically like their McDonald's for the day.
Right. It's like a treat.
Basically a treat. So it's not, anything that's going to be too bad. But I'm not against it. I mean, I used to just think that, I think the one time that I got angry, especially was one time I went to this bakery and they said they had a PLT. And I was excited because it said a portobello, lettuce, and tomato sandwich, right?
Sure.
Kind of a difference of a BLT, right?
Yeah.
Man, this thing was dried out portobello. And it was leathery and chewy and just, so from that point, I had a really bad point of view toward these things. But I think as, again, we've gone on and we've gotten smarter and we've figured out these little things that like these, gluten-free things are absolutely delicious. Like you can get a gluten-free pepperoni roll from Fluff Bakery in Athens. And it's absolutely killer. And it's better than the original one that they have. I feel.
You're like, how did you do that?
Yeah. But I mean, again, I think with folks like what you said, there's the scientific part of it all, but then there's the artist. So it's up to the artist to be able to break the rules, right? That has been set there in order to change it and make it
your
taste
box.
good. Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
But I say try it. I mean, if you haven't, check it out. You might like it.
There you go. Just don't be afraid to try things.
Don't be afraid to try things.
You got it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we digressed. But that was a fun little discussion there. Yeah. Glad you gave us your opinion on that. Do not forget National Men's Health Month, the month of June, especially June 12th through the 18th. Mm-hmm. And in honor of Men's Health Awareness, Friday, June 16th.
And what? Yeah, Father's Day is 18th too, right?
Yes,
that's also what's important. I think that's why they kind of chose June as
makes sense
as Men's Health Awareness. Yep. But yeah, remember that. Remember the 10th on for Manpower Park for the health of it.
It's gonna be fun.
Again tomorrow at Devil's Kettle, I'll be there roasting a whole hog. Yeah.
So come see Sam.
Come see me.
Yeah. All right. Well, very good. Thank you for spending your morning with us.
Thanks so much for having me.
We greatly appreciate it. Well, of course. And come back and see us soon.
For sure. Thanks, guys.
All right. Well, have a great day, everyone. And we will be back here on Monday. So thanks for watching. Bye.
This just in.
The Telegram News has a new website.
thetelegramnews.com.
Same dedicated coverage.
Same trustworthy news with a brand new look.
Covering Jackson and Benton counties and surrounding areas.
Locally owned and operated, thetelegramnews.com has its finger on the pulse of the community.
Stay up to date on local events, high school sports, and breaking news.
thetelegramnews.com.
Subscribe today at thetelegramnews.com.
Check it out.